Hey, 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 welcome in. Tuesday edition, Bruce Hooley Show. In the On Deck Circle, glad to have you with us. We're in commercial here on 98.9 The Answer, where the show will switch at noon to those social channels, but you can watch it on my Facebook page and Twitter pages until then. So thanks for joining us. Appreciate it very much. Looking forward to getting started. And here we go. Well, after much ballyhoo and advanced planning, it came, we saw, and it moved on back to normal. The eclipse is over, and I wonder if you enjoyed it. Not the eclipse itself, that was pretty cool, I will admit. It was neat to look up at the sun and see it vanishing as the moon passed in front of it. But would you do it again if you could in a year? Like, if this could become an annual event, would you do it? I tend to think it would lose some of its mystifying hold on people. But I'd be a no on that. Don't know exactly what timeline I would think would be perfect for a total solar eclipse. I would say I'd be fine if we had one every decade. One every decade would be plenty for me. Because I found it maddening. I'm an impatient person. I do not like traffic jams, and boy did we have one yesterday on 270. They said there were between 150 and 575,000 people who came into Ohio for the solar eclipse. I think half of them were waiting to get off 270 onto Sawmill Road, and the other half were waiting to get off in Dublin onto 33 from 270. I think that's where a whole 600,000 of them were. Because I have never seen either exit backed up like that, including the night just a few months ago when we got the 4 to 5 inches of snow right at the start of rush hour. The traffic was worse yesterday. Now you could theoretically go faster than you could that night when we got all the snow. But there weren't near as many cars out that night as there were yesterday. So I made the trip to my Monday afternoon home away from home soft step carpet in Plain City, which is on 161. And I had to use all the powers of my ingenuity in where I had to think like an eclipse geek and say, okay, where would an eclipse geek be right now? And I want to be somewhere else. And what I determined was that any place that led to a major highway was going to be jacked up. And so if I could get on the most benign backcountry road to get where I was going, that was my best chance. And so shout out Tuttle Crossing Boulevard, got off there, weaved my way through the backcountry roads, and got to soft step carpet. I watched it. It was okay. It was cool. Actually, I missed the whole I came out periodically to look. I saw the moon passing in front of the sun. Okay, kind of cool. Then I saw it, went out like 5 minutes later, maybe 10 minutes later. Maybe 5 minutes later. And it was like obviously further along. And then I think I missed totality. So I got one chance in my life, maybe two, but one chance as an adult to watch it, and I goofed it up. I got immersed in whatever I was doing in the shop, and I missed it. I didn't miss the whole thing, but I went back out, and I didn't have the little ring around the sun like everybody raves about. So curious to know if you do it every year. Would you do it every 3 to 5 years? Did you find out it was like as amazing as everyone thought? Much ado about nothing. If you want to weigh in, you can. 844-TALK-989. 844-TALK-989. They had 7,000 people at the Columbus Zoo. I don't know how that compares to a normal like sunny summer Sunday at the Columbus Zoo. Is that a heavy day? Is that a light day? Is that a common day? I don't know. But they said the ostriches and the elephants had the most interesting reactions to the eclipse. The ostriches got fooled. They thought it was nighttime. They started preening and doing their nighttime routine, put their hair up in rollers, put their PJs on, and headed off to bed only to find out like 3 minutes and change later, oh, hey, it's actually still daytime. And he said the elephants gathered together, began thumping their trunks on the ground, and one elephant made chirping sounds during the moment of totality. So the elephant sounded a lot like Democrats dancing around the fire when another infant is murdered in the womb. They got very excited, thumping their trunks on the ground, dancing around, and making chirping sounds, reacting to the total solar eclipse. We are going to talk about abortion today, and I don't mean to bore you with it, but we had a really good call yesterday. Someone said Donald Trump talked about Democrats are in favor of abortion on demand up until the day of conception. Is that true? Yes. How often does it happen? And what is the Democrats' position on abortion? So I went into the Wayback Machine and found out that while Trump was in office, the Democrats became more bold in their stating the clear intention that any mother can murder any child she's carrying for any reason at any time. Any reason. Mental health. I don't feel like having it. I thought I did. Was kind of excited about it. We screwed up the wallpaper in the baby's room. And now I'm done with it. So let's just off the kid. Okay, fine. If it'll screw up your mental health, that's fine. And you might say, well, you're trivializing it. Am I? Am I? If they can at any time, at any point, for any reason, abort a child's life, is that not an extreme position? Now, I always like to consult authorities on matters like this. And Whoopi Goldberg of The View had some things to say yesterday. So when I talk about abortion today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to equip you to handle these conversations as we move toward the election in November. Because you're going to hear it from people, Donald Trump's extremist, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's find out who's extreme. And I want to equip you with the knowledge, the did you know knowledge. Now, I don't equip you with this so that this will be your lead when you're trying to convince somebody to vote Republican. Not because I'm ashamed of the Republicans' position on abortion. It's a much better position on abortion than the Democrats hold, and that is the question. That is why idiots like Jim Garrity at the National Review anger me so much, in that he well knows this election is a either or choice between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. It is not a choice between perfect and imperfect. It is a choice between flawed and more flawed. It is. Okay? And Garrity, who's a conservative purist, likes to tut all of us about January 6th and Donald Trump being a threat to democracy and all that. Okay. Joe Biden is like a constitutional conservative, a preservationist, a traditionalist, an originalist. Is that your case, Jim Garrity? No, it's not. So on abortion, I wouldn't lead with it. I would talk about, like I did the girl the other day who called when I was hosting the Mike Gallagher show. What are your dreams? What do you want to accomplish as a family? What do you want to accomplish as a couple? What do you want to accomplish as an individual? Do you think those things are more realistic under a Trump administration, given his record, his track record, what we know about him being president, and what we know about the last 4 years of Joe Biden? Gas prices are going up, by the way. See that? Gas prices going up. I'll gladly pay. Gladly pay. And I don't have it to pay. Trust me, I'm not wealthy. I'm not even close to being wealthy. I'd gladly pay $4.75 a gallon for gas between now and November the 5th, because that would ensure the end of Joe Biden and the Democrats. It would be the end of him. I will happily invest in the end of the Biden administration at the gas pump. I can drive less. I can do a lot of things to mitigate the economic damage of that. There's nothing the Biden administration can do to mitigate the damage of gas prices. So we will talk about that. But speaking of money, Norfolk Southern, the rail company that had its train go literally off the rails in East Palestine, Ohio back in February of 2023, has reached a $600 million settlement with people who are part of the class action lawsuit against that rail company. Now, this will settle a lot of the claims. You have to be part of the class action lawsuit right now or you're not going to get any money. It will settle personal injury claims within 10 miles of the derailment. And it will resolve other actions not related to personal injury of those who are deemed to be victims within a 20-mile radius. So a lot of the lawsuits about this went away, but there's still lawsuits, which you could assume individually if you want to. The other thing is that there is a federal lawsuit. I find this interesting. Did you know our Department of Justice, our hard-working Department of Justice, which took forever to go after Hunter Biden for all his crimes and won't release the tapes on Joe Biden's interview with Robert Hur. Why do you think that is? They've already released the transcript. Why do you think they won't release the tapes? You know, when somebody won't give you something, don't you kind of feel like maybe they got something to hide? What could they possibly have to hide on the tapes of Joe Biden? It's one thing to read his words on a page. Could he sound worse on tape than he read worse in a transcript? That's the unmistakable conclusion with which I am left. But did you know that our DOJ has an outstanding lawsuit against Norfolk Southern? That they are suing Norfolk Southern, requiring them to pay for the entire disaster cleanup. Well, now that's interesting, isn't it? I'm not saying that's a wrong move. They're screw up, they should pay for it. But why is it different in Baltimore? Why is it only in red state Ohio that the company that crashed its train has to pay? Why does the shipping company from, India? Why do they not have to pay for knocking down the Francis Scott Key Bridge?
Afternoon, thunderstorm in parts of the area. The high today at 71. Evening shower tonight, otherwise.
All right, off and running.
Tomorrow, the high 66. Periods of heavy rain, thunderstorm, breezy on Thursday. Could be some gusty wind, small hail, even an isolated tornado. High Thursday at 69. Clouds windy and cooler. Rain on Friday. High 51. I'm Steve Williams, 98 FM. The Answer.
Wars played a key role in the history of the United States, from the nation's founding right down to the present. Wars made the United States independent, kept it together, increased its size, and established it as a global superpower. Hi, I'm James Early, host of the Key Battles of American History podcast. In each episode, I discuss American history through the lens of the most important battles of America's wars. To start listening now, go to ParthenonPodcast.com or search Key Battles of American History on your favorite podcasting platform.
The Tilton family at Tilton's Automotive Service has been serving our community with state-of-the-art equipment for nearly 35 years. From oil changes to detailing to complete engine replacement, we're here to serve you to the highest levels and make you part of the family. All our repairs are backed by a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty. Check out our mobile app for discounts and specials. Tilton's Automotive Service, in the shadow of Anheuser-Busch in Columbus and just off Creekside in Gahanna. For more info, check out tiltonsauto.com. Take it to Tilton's.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 67 and I'm pretty active. I go out in the fields and work, and I notice the difference. I take it in the morning, but I've been taking it, religiously. My body seems to like it.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code BALANCE.
This is Seth Leekson for townhall.com. The accidental killing of aid workers by Israel, aside from its obvious sad tragedy for the families and friends of those 7, was unfortunately instructive. A teachable moment against and about Israel and how she is viewed. The difference between the accidental bombing by Israel and the deliberate atrocities of Hamas's ongoing war against Israel, where civilians are deliberately used as weapons and victims of war, collapsed. It shouldn't have. War is hell, and in hell, as almost everywhere, accidents happen. The Israeli accident will be remembered and exploited far more than when, under Barack Obama, the U.S. struck a Doctors Without Borders facility in Afghanistan, killing at least 40 civilians, and Joe Biden's bombing in Afghanistan that killed 10 civilians, or any other number of wartime accidents. If Hamas did not use civilians for cover and target and taken hostages, these 7 lives would still be with us. But a horrible accident should not serve as a pretext to rhetorically isolate, if not abandon, our ally in our hour of need.
Are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime? Journey with me, Mike Gallagher, and Dr. Sebastian Gorka on the Patriots Alaska cruise this summer. It's going to be an incredible opportunity to engage with other like-minded patriots on an epic 7-day cruise over 4th of July. Witness the untouched wilderness of Alaska while discussing America's future. Join Dr. Gorka and me, Mike Gallagher, from June 29th through July the 6th. Call 855-565-5519 or reserve online at patriotsalaskacruise.com.
Hey, the rain is coming back, so you might get a reprieve if you were planning on doing something out in the yard. But you know what you're not going to get a reprieve from? That nagging pain you deal with all the time. Maybe it's in your back, maybe it's in your hip, knee, wrist, arm, finger. Doesn't matter. You just want it to go away, right? And you hesitate to go to the doctor because you know, oh man, I'm going to have to take half a day off of work. I'm going to have to wait around. He's going to put me on medication. Then I'm going to be tethered to that. I'm not sure if it'll work. Here's something that I believe will work because it's worked for thousands right here in Central Ohio. QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is advanced regenerative therapy. Surgery? No, no surgery. What they do is they take the healing agents out of your body. Your body heals itself naturally, right? You cut your finger, it heals. Those are called platelets. They concentrate those platelets, re-inject them in your body, and wow, the results are amazing. You get a free consultation at QC Kinetics. Why wouldn't you take advantage of it? Here's the number, 380-208-4544, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. So I was struck by two things yesterday in the aftermath of the eclipse. Number one, a headline that I saw on yahoo.com. I'm a fan of the pastor, Vodi Bakum Jr. Vodi Bakum is an amazing pastor. And Vodi Bakum is a black man. And yet he is someone who has often decried the use of race to advantage one group of people over another. In other words, he's a truth teller and a law abider. And Vodi Bakum has a saying that everything is racist. Everything is racist, including the eclipse. Because here's the headline. Here's the headline from yahoo.com. Eclipse fever is gripping black Texans. While the event will cast, this is the subhead, while the event will cast a brief shadow on life in Texas, it sheds a light on scientific fields that have mainly been out of reach for black folks. Really? Why? I don't know. But then they talk about Texas was where the eclipse started to enter the United States as it cut its path from southwest to northeast. They got a bunch of visitors from outside the state, expected to make an economic impact of $1.4 billion. And then it says this: preparations for the event have disrupted life for many black folks living in the state's largest metro areas of Austin, Dallas, and Houston. Only black folks? Not white folks? Are there white people who live in those cities? Were their lives similarly disrupted? Only black folks' lives were disrupted. Sure. So what about the science fields being denied black folks? They say in the story that astrophysics and astronomy have mainly been out of reach for black folks. Just 3% of the workforce in these fields is black. Well, that would seem to me, in the age of DEI, to open a wide swath. Could it be that they're just not interested in it? Could that be? Could it be a personal choice that they're interested in something else? I'm not interested in astrophysics or astronomy. Does that mean it's been denied to me? No, it means I made a personal choice. Now, the other thing that stood out to me about the eclipse yesterday was the logic of one of our intellectual betters, Sonny Hostin. I mean, you got to admit, on the day that the sun is eclipsed by the moon, the authority you most want to hear from, right, is Sonny Hostin, who, not so shockingly, was posing the scenario on The View yesterday that the eclipse, in tandem with the earthquake in New York and tornadoes, and what was the other thing she mentioned? That this is all proof that climate change, the eclipse itself, the earthquake in New York, all proof that climate change is real. You have to really be a special level of idiot to have Joy Behar and who was the other shrew on there? Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg correct your take. When Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar are fact checking you, Sonny Hostin, that's another level of dumb. Speaking of another level of dumb, here's Joe Biden going back to the well for giving more student loan debt. The president, who has already gone outside the Supreme Court's ruling that when he tried to forgive $400 billion in student loan debt, it was unconstitutional, has now announced another student loan forgiveness program that will affect 4 million borrowers, giving $5,000 in debt relief to 10 million borrowers, and wiping out the interest payments on the loans that people agreed to. 23 million such borrowers will now have their interest wiped out on their loans. It will affect, in all, 30 million people who, by their own free will, signed their name to a student loan. The administration says that his actions are specifically designed to provide relief to Black and Latino borrowers who attended community college and who are financially vulnerable because they took out debt but never had the chance to complete their degree. I don't know what that means. Never had the chance to complete their degree. What, did the school kick them out? Were they in bad academic standing? Why did they not have the chance to complete their degree? I mean, they let them in. They let them take out a loan. It would seem to me that this would have been a personal choice. We can't hold people accountable for their personal choices anymore. The White House release says the plan would provide relief to borrowers who owe more than they did at the start of repayment. That's great. Could I get that deal on a car loan or my home loan? Could he forgive my mortgage debt? Borrowers who are otherwise eligible for loan forgiveness but have not yet applied, so you don't even have to apply to get this. And borrowers who first entered repayment many years ago, borrowers who enrolled in low financial value programs. So all you sociology majors, huzzah! You're getting a pass from Joe Biden. All you fashion merchandising mind, all you DEI and black studies majors, you're all getting a pass from your president, who wants to spend and will spend, if he's allowed, taxpayer money, plumbers, teachers, electricians, radio hosts, tax dollars, to forgive your debt because you chose not to forgive, not to continue your studies, could not get your degree, did not parlay it into a job that paid you what you thought it would when you decided that it would be fine for you to go in the hole in the short term in order to gain something long term. I have no problem with delayed gratification. It is a value that we need to uphold and explain to our children that sometimes that's a good move. But when people are allowed to make decisions and then they bail on those decisions, we should not bail them out.
In the aftermath of the toxic train derailment, the disaster in East Palestine, Ohio, Norfolk Southern agreed to pay $600 million to settle a class action lawsuit. The settlement proposal would have to be approved by a court. In court this morning for sentencing, the parents of Michigan high school gunman Ethan Crumley named that Jeffrey Crumley had been convicted of involuntary manslaughter Wall Street stocks in the red, the Dow down 217 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Biden has started tracking Christians like cattle. Yes, you heard it right. The president banks the tag transactions with certain keywords. One of them is only technically. It's a horrifying and creepy attack on our religious freedom. It's made possible by a digital financial system that makes you a sitting duck. But you do have other options. I recommend a physical gold IRA or Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallner, news analyst and best-selling author and evangelical leader to people who cherish their financial independence. President Federal's IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Biden's anti-Christian bureaucracy while also preserving your retirement savings. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit to see how a gold IRA can help you. Text faith to 989898. There are no strings attached. So text faith to the number 989898 right now and take action to protect you.
He's the voice of a new generation and willing to fight for what's right in the greatest country ever conceived. He's Charlie Kirk. You can hear him weekdays from 6 to 7 and again 11 to midnight on your station. Passion 98.9 FM. The answer.
Planning for retirement is no small task. If you don't know where to start, join Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group every Saturday at 10 and 2 for Retire Ready Ohio. Rodney shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 10 and 2 to Retire Ready Ohio with Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group. Firm offers insurance services, investment advisory services are offered through Peters Wealth Group, a state-registered investment advisor.
Here's great news. If you plan on attending Ohio Christian University as a new traditional student this fall semester at the Circleville campus, you can receive a $5,000 tuition scholarship for only $2,500. That's right, get a $5,000 tuition scholarship for only $2,500. One scholarship per student and all Ohio Christian University admission requirements must be met. Learn more at 989theanswer.com or call RMAT at 614-216-5049.
Laura Trump provides a fresh and honest perspective on the issues that matter to you on the Right View podcast, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
The number of Americans, and I think this is part of the problem right now, the number of Americans getting their news from TikTok quadrupled in the past 3 years. It really kind of terrifies me for what is to come for this country.
Subscribe to The Right View on Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer. Anywhere you go with The Answer's mobile app at 98.9theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
I was not sorry to see it get a little chilly on Sunday because you know what I did? I made a pot of chili, and I made it from ground beef from riverbendranchsteaks.com. You can get the same ground beef, no hormones, no antibiotics, riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. It'll take you right to my page. It'll tell you all about the bundles you can order. You can even add on to your bundle with a la carte purchases of filet mignon, some extra New York strips, a few extra ribeyes, a chuck roast, or like me, a couple extra pounds of ground beef every month. You don't have to order every month. You can order every other month. Riverbend Ranch is a real place. It's out west, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana. It's a very large ranch owned by one guy, and he built a $160 million processing plant on his property to sell his beef with perfect marbling, USDA choice and prime, only the best 2 cuts possible, directly to you. Go to riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. Fill out your form. Enjoy your awesome steaks and ground beef as soon as they arrive. riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. So President Trump yesterday, I should start calling him soon-to-be President Trump. Maybe that'll make it happen. Maybe I can speak it into existence. President Trump, former and a future President Donald Trump, announced yesterday morning his position on abortion. It was a position that did not please evangelicals, the most staunchest defenders of life. It is not what I would prefer be the law of the land. But as I've said, the election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden is not a choice of perfect and imperfect. It's a choice of flawed and more flawed. And I can argue Trump's position on abortion is not in line with my own. Joe Biden's position on abortion is, well, it's as heinous as almost anything the Nazis did. Because you say, wow, this is crazy overstatement. Really? Were Nazis killing babies after they were born? Because that's what Democrats advocate for. I'll prove it to you here in a moment. I don't make empty statements that I can't back up. But first, let me answer the question that we got yesterday from a caller who wanted to know if Trump was being accurate when he said that babies born alive are then left to die. And that is the Democratic position on abortion. That is absolutely 100% the Democratic position on abortion. That was Tim Ryan's position on abortion when he ran against J.D. Vance for Senate. He would not answer the question, remember, from Brett Baer about what restrictions. It is Sherrod Brown's position on abortion as he runs against Bernie Moreno in the fall for the other Senate seat in the state of Ohio. So how often does this happen, that a baby survives an abortion? And how does that happen, that a baby survives an abortion? Well, I found a story by a woman named Melissa Oden from January of 2023 on The Hill. The headline is, I survived an abortion. Here's what pro-lifers must do to end abortion once and for all. Donald Trump's position is that this is an issue, once the overturn of Roe versus Wade happened, an issue that should be fought in the states. I was thinking about this overnight, and we differ greatly from state to state. I'd be miserable in California. I'd be miserable in Illinois. I couldn't live in either place. I couldn't live in New York State. I couldn't live in New Jersey. I just couldn't do it. It's just, their policies are just detached from common sense, and they're deeply embedded in and invested in evil. I couldn't live there. I wouldn't live there. But we can, if we improve our messaging on abortion, win these battles on abortion much easier state by state than we can nationally. And it is really, in my view, a lack of will on the part of pro-lifers to say, well, yeah, we want the Supreme Court to take care of it, and we want the Congress to take care of it, and we want the president to take care of it, and just write a law, and we want to win that way. Okay, well, I love that. Is it practical? Is it possible? No, and quite unlikely. And if you're not willing to do the work to logically argue this out with people who oppose abortion, the science is on our side, technology is on our side. We have many stories like the one I'm going to tell you about here momentarily from this Melissa Oden. I think we can win this state by state with more like-minded people in certain states. Ohio, Oklahoma, Alabama, Florida. I think we can win these battles. So Melissa Oden is herself a survivor of an abortion. She said in 1977, her birth mother was a 19-year-old college student forced to abort me at the urging of her mother, who was a nurse. After soaking in the toxic salt solution of the saline abortion for 5 days, my mother's labor was finally successfully induced on the 5th day. Instead of expelling my dead body from her womb, as was intended and expected, I was accidentally born alive. She was whisked away to the neonatal intensive care unit by a caring nurse. And this woman's mother did not know she survived the abortion until 10 years ago. So they did not tell the mother. Now, what happens when a woman has a baby in an abortion and the baby survives? Well, here is Virginia Governor Ralph Northam. Listen closely to what he said in 2019 when they were debating a bill in Virginia about what they would do with a baby born alive during an abortion. The infant would be kept comfortable, sedated, Then the mother and everybody would have a discussion about what they want to do. Not, well, the baby's born alive, we're not going to kill a live baby. No, that's not the position that Ralph Northam took up. And that is not the position that Democrats would be in favor of. Here is Minnesota Senator Tina Smith in 2019 in the U.S. Senate talking about the same thing, when a baby is born alive during an abortion.
This bill intimidates providers and forces physicians to provide inappropriate medical treatment, sometimes not in the best interest of the patient or her family. Colleagues, we should treat women with respect. Decisions about women's health care are different from decisions about men's health care. So why are we treating women differently? This legislation, if it became law, would put doctors in an untenable position. Do they follow the law, or do they follow their close professional?
I was under the impression, perhaps mistaken, maybe a medical professional can clue me in, that doctors take the Hippocratic Oath, which is do no harm. She is saying, do they follow the law or do they follow the tenets of their profession? If you are required by law to care for a live human being, I don't think those two things are at odds. Now, the U.S. House of Representatives approved a law that would force, compel, require infants born alive after a failed abortion to be saved, given medical treatment. When did they do that? Oh, they did it in January of 2023. Did you hear about it? No, you didn't hear about it. You know why you didn't hear about it? It passed in the U.S. House, 220 to 210. So, you know, close margin. All the Democrats, of course, voted against it. What has happened to it since then, Bruce? When did the Senate vote it down? Why didn't we hear about it? Because Chuck Schumer has never brought it to the floor in the Senate. He has never brought it to the floor, and he never will bring it to the floor. So here is where this whole thing started and how easy they want it to be. This is a Virginia Representative, Katie Tran, talking about under questioning from a Republican colleague in the Virginia legislature about what it means that the baby could be put to death in order to preserve the mother's mental health.
What type of mental health condition?
You wrote the bill.
In mental health determination under your bill.
No, so we're going to allow the mother to abort their child because of their mental health. And you're not going to call in a mental health professional. You're not going to require the doctor who's aborting the child to have any expertise in mental health. You're just going to take the mom's word for it. And you can tell from the way that Representative Katie Tran was hesitating when the questions were asked that she knew she was in an unpopular danger zone. And she didn't want to answer the questions. Because when I have courage of my convictions, I can answer quickly and succinctly. They can't do it because they know what they're doing is wrong.
Sun for the afternoon. Parts of the area. The high today at 71. Evening shower tonight. Otherwise cloudy and mild. Low 56. Clouds and a bit of rain tomorrow. The high 66. Periods of heavy rain. Thunderstorm breezy on Thursday. Could be some gusty winds, small hail, even an isolated tornado. High Thursday at 69. Clouds windy and cooler. Rain on Friday. High 51. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Hey friends, whether it's the melting winter snow or the spring rain that's coming, if you've got roof leaks, that water's coming in and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Well, actually there is, but you've got to take the steps. This is Bob France, and that step is to call Sky Roofing at 614-280-9308. Look, Sky Roofing is not some fly-by-night storm chaser company that comes in after a storm, claims they fixed your leaks, then disappears before it starts leaking again. On someone else. No, Sky Roofing is here for the long haul. They've been serving Ohio homeowners for over 2 decades, and their pledge is to treat your roof like it was one of their own. So if your roof is in disrepair, maybe you've got some gaps in the shingles, or maybe your roof has served its time well for you, but you just need a new one, the damage that's going to be caused by all of those leaks is going to be worse than the cost of huge. Call Sky Roofing, 614-280-9308. Call today, get a great quote, learn more at skyroofinginc.com. Sky Roofing is roofing done right.
Relief Factor is the daily supplement that helps your body fight back against pain. It's 100% drug-free. Relief Factor was developed by doctors searching for a better alternative for pain. Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients to help reduce or eliminate the everyday aches and pains that you're experiencing, whether it's neck, back, joint, muscle pain. Relief Factor can help you feel better. Unlike pills that mask the pain for a short time, and I've been there, done that, well, Relief Factor helps support the body's natural response to inflammation. Over 1 million people have tried the Relief Factor Quick Start Kit. Nearly 70% of people go on to order it again. So you see, Relief Factor is about living better. See how Relief Factor can help you with their 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95. It comes with Relief Factor's Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Why not give it a try? Let's see if we can get you something. ReliefFactor.com. ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800 the number 4-RELIEF. When you feel the difference, you know it works. Relief Factor.
Bruce Hooley here, and if you've watched the news at all, you know that Mike Lindell and his MyPillow family no longer have the support of big box stores or the shopping channels the way they used to. They've been part of the cancel culture, and they're the targets, so they want to pass the savings of being canceled directly onto you by having a $25 extravaganza. When Mike started MyPillow, it was a one-product company. With the help of his dedicated employees, they now have hundreds of products, some of which you may not even know about. To get the word out, I want to invite my listeners to check out their $25 extravaganza. For instance, a 2-pack multi-use MyPillow, just $25. MyPillow sandwich, $25. Brand new 4-pack dish towels, you guessed it, $25. For the first time ever, the premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, just $25. Orders over $75 will receive free shipping too. This amazing offer won't last long, so go to MyPillow.com and use my promo code Bruce. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Bruce.
You all know how your tax dollars have been used to push progressive politics in public schools. English scores decline. For years, America's biggest asset managers have been doing the same thing, using your retirement savings to push their politics, their DEI and ESG agenda, without your consent and at your expense. There's an alternative. At Strive, we put shareholders first. Maximizing your returns is our only agenda. To learn more, visit strive.com now. That's strive.com.
Hey, shout out to my guy Ron. He expressed interest in the PatriotSwitch.com movement. It is a movement. It is a way to take market share away from big companies. There's about 12 of them that populate your store shelves at Target, Walmart, Kroger, with 90% of the products you get to pick from. And they're all major conglomerates, and they all donate to the causes that you don't support. Abortion, anti-NRA programs, want to take away your Second Amendment rights. They're defund the police people. You're not that. Why would you buy your products from them? Why would you sustain their economic bottom line? And by the way, all their assets are controlled by BlackRock, Vanguard, or State Street, 3 of the big asset managers. It's all a closed shop. Not American, not pro-American. Why not buy the same things you're already buying? Mouthwash, toothpaste, cleaning products, nutritional supplements, vitamins, from a pro-America company owned by a family, and they make everything they sell, ship it right to your door. Find out more at PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce, PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce. We will have a guest tomorrow. I believe it's Tony Perkins from the Family Research Council. He's going to be doing a podcast with Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. And I'm looking forward to talking to Tony. I'm going to ask him, how many authentically grounded believers in Jesus Christ are there in the Biden administration? My opinion is there are 0. Including Chris Coons, who I'm told, he's a deep man of faith. Well, no, he isn't. I don't know if he supports the unrestricted murder of children in the womb. and the mutilation of children via transgender surgeries and sexual reassignment surgeries, you don't get to pick and choose. You don't get to be, as the whacked Archbishop from Washington, D.C. said, a cafeteria Catholic and pick whatever you want. But that's what devout Catholic President Joe Biden does on abortion. And this has been a building agenda item within the Democratic Party as they move further and further away from God and God's truth over the past 5 years. And this is going to be a big part of their platform in the fall as they try to keep Donald Trump from regaining the presidency. The time when this really jumped out and became like so clearly, boldly stated was 2019 in the Virginia House. This is why Glenn Youngkin got elected governor, in addition to him advocating for parents' rights in schools. Because this position, at the time it was voiced by the person who wrote the bill, her name was Katie Tran. Yeah, I know, I'm thinking the same thing you are. Was so over the top in the lack of any limit at all on abortion. And pretty soon you heard Tim Ryan talking about it as he ran against J.D. Vance. And pretty soon you had, Kamala Harris advocating for it. And you got like every Democrat out there advocating for it. So here's Katie Tran in the Virginia House foreshadowing what now every Democrat proudly owns. She won't answer. She knows. She wrote the bill. She won't answer. No limit. You can abort a child at any point. And now they advocate aborting the child if it survives an abortion. This can happen in the first trimester when a child survives a chemical abortion. That's the scenario I outlined for you in the last segment with Melissa Oden when this happened to her in 1977. She survived the abortion. It can happen in the second trimester when a baby can survive a surgical abortion. Might leave them with significant scarring, wounds, whatever. There's stories of many people who have had that happen to them. One of them is a woman by the name of Hope Hoffman. You can look her up. And in the third trimester, they induce labor with the intent that the child won't survive, but sometimes they do. And then when they do, we'll just leave them on a tray and let them die. Take them away. Kermit Gosnell, the butcher in Philadelphia, sent to prison for his butchery, did this as a matter of routine. And now, this is not a radical position in the Democratic Party at all. Here's Whoopi Goldberg yesterday on The View talking about how, you want to abort a child at any point in time. I'm fine with it. In fact, I'm an advocate for it. Pretty much in that situation, you and your doctor are playing God. And you hear the applause of a bunch of trampy New York this is the point that I want you to remember, because you're going to hear this, that an abortion is not a murder. Listen to her make this case. She's not talking about Michigan, Ohio State. She's talking about the 10 Commandments, which she blasphemously refers to as the Big Ten.
Here's the stuff that'll make your life better on earth. Here's the thing. Don't lie, because you don't want people lying to you. Don't mess with somebody's wife, because you're going to be mad if they're messing with you. Just, common sense stuff.
Say, thou shalt not kill.
Yes, well, here's the thing. I think thou shalt not kill cannot be used as the block, because we allow wars all the time. Because crusades allow all these things. So, yes, so there is some conversation to be had here. So you can either do thou shalt not kill for everybody. Yes. And everything. And everything.
It is staggering how stupid she is. It is really staggering how stupid she is. Her justification for saying that abortion is not murder, that it does not fall under the commandment, thou shalt not kill, is that, and I quote, we allow wars all the time. Does God ordain wars? There is a difference between something existing and something being blessed by God that exists. Okay? Murder exists. Is it blessed by God? No, it is not. Are wars, like they were in the Old Testament, decreed by God? No. What are wars the result of? Wars are the result of a lot of things, but you can put them all under the umbrella of what? Of man's sinful nature. Her stiff arm of applying thou shalt not kill to abortion is we allow wars all the time. As if she could step in and go, no, sorry, Putin, you can't go into Ukraine. Sorry, Hamas, you can't go into Israel. Wars are not blessed by God. They exist. Abortion exists. It is not blessed by God. It is murder. It is not even remotely debatable. It is murder.
Finally caught up with Louie.
I haven't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the better $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me, they calm me down, they make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965.
Wow, that was a fast hour. Thanks for joining. We'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate you guys watching. And congratulations to Connecticut. And I'm really glad Connecticut won. I used to hate Connecticut, but sports is a lot like a presidential election. You got two teams playing, and you root for the one that sometimes you hate less than you do the other. And I find Purdue to be so easy to dislike. They have such ordinary players, except for Zach Edey, who is a force because he's allowed to be a force. You know, Wilt Chamberlain once said, nobody loves Goliath. Wilt never got to see Zach Edey play because Edey is Goliath, and he commits a foul about 90% of the time when he gets the ball on offense by banging his shoulder into a guy to back that guy off. He's gaining an advantage. That's the thing with officials now. Oh, who gains an advantage? Zach Edey gains an advantage virtually every time he catches the ball, and they never call it. Okay? So I'm happy Purdue lost. Their guards stink. Braden Smith and Lawyer, whose name I don't even know, stink compared to the kinds of guards you typically need to win an NCAA championship. They're lucky they got there and Connecticut embarrassed them. So happy to watch it. And with that, I wish you a good day. Take care.